friends to our class. You'll find this available on my Facebook and YouTube pages and IMCW's as well. And as always, I want to thank you for being part of this weekly gathering. It's a beautiful way to foster community and spirit around the world. And I'll begin tonight with a few announcements, a reminder that you're invited to join our mindful movement class each week before class, and then our discussion groups, and they start immediately following class. And you'll find the links on tarabrock.com/class. Also, a reminder to register and save a spot for our satsang. It's weekly on Saturdays. It's a question answer and also some meditation with community. And this and all of my virtual offerings are on tarabrock.com. And please check imcw.org for live stream offerings made available by our local DC teachers. And this week's IMCW affinity group meetings are women and teens of color. These teachings, as many of you know, are offered freely, and your donations really make a difference. So we appreciate $10 or whatever you feel moved to offering, and links can be found in the description. So tonight we have a special guest who will be leading our meditation and offering a talk. And I'm excited to introduce you to my fellow teacher and friend, Lama Tsultrim Allione. And first, I'd actually like to read from her bio. Lama Tsultrim Allione's best-selling author and Buddhist teacher is the founder and director of Tara Mandala, an international Buddhist community based at Tara Mandala Retreat Center in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. And in 2009, Lama Tsultrim was selected by an esteemed committee of Buddhist scholars and practitioners to receive the International Outstanding Woman in Buddhism Award, given in Bangkok, Thailand. So she's the mother of 3 and grandmother of 6. And now my own comment, which is Lama Tsultrim is outstanding. She's one of the truly visionary spiritual leaders of our times, and her teachings on the sacred feminine are transformational. She really manifests that spirit that she invites forward in others of creativity and courage and deep wisdom. So I trust you'll find much inspiration. I want to express my appreciation to you, Lama Tsultrim, for sharing teachings with our community. And thank you, my friends, for participating, being part of this.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be with you at the invitation of Tara Brock, and I'm going to be leading this practice and time with you today. My name is Lama Tsultrim Allione. I'm a teacher in the tradition from Tibetan Buddhism, and I'm the author of several books. Feeding Your Demons is one of them. And I'm going to be talking about that today. So what I'm going to do is to lead you in a 15-minute meditation. Then I'll give an introduction to Feeding Your Demons. And then I'll actually take you through the experience of feeding a demon. So let's begin now with the meditation. So take a moment to get comfortable. In all the Buddhist texts, it says, take a comfortable seat. So you don't have to sit cross-legged on the floor. You can sit in a chair, feet on the ground, back straight, or cross-legged if you prefer. And you can either have your eyes closed or in what's called the Shravaka gaze in the Tibetan tradition, which is the eyes sort of at the angle of the nose, down downward cast, like you see the statues of the Buddha. He doesn't have his eyes closed. He has his eyes slightly open. And once you get your comfortable position, take a moment to just check in with yourself. How do I feel right now? What do I feel in my body? How do I feel emotionally? And whatever you're feeling, just allow yourself to be present with that. There's no particular way you should feel or shouldn't feel. Just be with what is. And then attune to your body, your breath, constantly changing, always moving. Such a magical thing, the breath. We do it all the time and creates life, supports life. So let's take a moment and send gratitude to our body, all the magical things that it's doing right now, the complex adjustments it's making constantly, and gratitude to the breath, to the air, to our lungs, to this process that keeps us alive. And without altering the breath at all, bring your attention to the out breath, particularly. And then at the end of the out breath, before the breath turns around, notice that gap, that space that's there. That spaciousness that's there. The end of the out breath before you breathe back in. And with that space or that gap present, recognize the vastness of the mind, the vastness of our consciousness, the openness that we get a glimpse into at the end of the out breath. Relax into that space. Simultaneously keep an awareness of the breath going in and out and the space. Awareness of the breath, awareness of sitting, body sitting, and simultaneously an awareness of vast space. We can touch into at the end of the out breath, but keep that awareness in the whole breathing cycle. Every once in a while, check your posture. Be sure that your back is straight, your shoulders back, but drop down so your breath can flow smoothly, freely. If we're hunched over, our breath doesn't flow smoothly. Enjoy that feeling of space, openness, vastness, while simultaneously appreciating your body, the knowing that you're sitting, presence in your body. Now, gradually coming out of meditation, take a moment to dedicate any merit or positive energy that you've accumulated in the meditation just by stopping and being present to benefit all beings everywhere. Thank you. So, what I want to talk about today and lead you in a practice of is something called feeding your demons. Your demons are not sort of medieval gargoyles, devil things that are outside yourself. Your demons are anything that keeps you from being free. And that's the meaning of Mara. Mara was the one who appeared under the Bodhi tree the night of the Buddha's enlightenment and tried to block his enlightenment through seduction, through aggression, and so on. In the story of the Buddha, that's always portrayed as these sort of external beings, or being the daughters of Mara being sent and so on. But really, it was the own mind of the Buddha that was rising at that time and blocking him from enlightenment. So our demons are anything that's blocking us from enlightenment. And a way to know what your demons are is to think about what's taking your energy, what's draining you, what are you obsessing about? What's tiring you? What are you paying with your attention? So I'll give you some ideas of some possible demons. You might have, especially right now, a demon of fear or anxiety around this whole COVID situation, economy, all the racial tensions, and so on. So that could be a demon, your fears and anxiety. You could have a demon of depression, of immobilization. You could have another kind of fear. It's maybe a fear of abandonment, fear of loss. So a demon is a personal thing in the sense that we all have our own demons. And this is something that I developed as a practice when I started to teach the traditional practice of Chud, which was developed by a woman actually in Tibet in the 11th century. And it became a very well-known practice. It's still practiced widely. And it's the opposite of some practices where you do a mantra, you do a visualization for protection. In the Chud practice, instead of protecting yourself from what you're afraid of, you actually offer yourself to what you're afraid of, which is kind of counterintuitive, but it actually incorporates parts of the psyche that we normally try to distance ourselves from. So let's say you have fear of flying. You try to distance yourself from flying. Let's say you have depression. You try to get rid of it. Or anxiety, you're fighting against it. And so with feeding your demons, you're doing the opposite. You're actually inviting that out, and you're going to ask it what it really needs. Why are you hanging around? What do you need? And then feed it that. And so it's paradoxical in the sense, well, why would you feed it? Wouldn't that just make it bigger? That isn't what happens. What happens is it gets bigger with that struggle, with that trying to make it go away. It gains power through the fight. Whereas when we invite it out and we feed it with love and compassion, that part of ourselves integrates into our psyche. And so there's been several studies now on this method that have shown very promising results in terms of working with depression, working with anxiety, working with addiction. And so I developed it really as a way to take a very Tibetan practice. It's sung, there's a drum, there's a bell, it's sung in Tibetan, and it's very foreign. And in it, you go through this process of feeding the demons. And so in trying to teach that in the West, I developed this 5-step method so that it became personal. It wasn't something Tibetan that you're kind of taking on, but it's something that actually is relevant to your life. And then what happened was my students, many of whom were therapists, started to use this method that I'd kind of adopted to explain the practice with their clients. And they found it had great results. And their clients were coming in every week and saying, can we do the demon work? So it evolved into having its own life. And now there is a certification program in this method for therapists or counselors or people who want to use it professionally. And it's all over the world. The book is now in 28 languages, which I thought was really interesting because it means that this whole idea of demons and how they work in us and on us is universal. It's not something that's sort of culturally limited. You might think, well, I don't believe in demons. Well, I don't believe in demons either in that sense of something external. But I do know that I have my own demons. And we actually use that word colloquially a lot. You see it in the paper almost every day that so-and-so died after a long fight with his demons of post-traumatic stress or other kinds of things. This word demons is used. And one of the interesting things is the origin of that word, demon, actually comes from the Greek daemon. And in ancient times, the daemon was something very positive. It was a spirit that was a helpful spirit that came down through the mother lineage, through the matriarchal lineage. And each person would have a daemon or several daemons that they were connected to in their life. And these daemons would be sometimes established in certain places, like, let's say, a spring of water. That would be sort of a location where a daemon would be. And somebody could go there and be supported by that energy there. So when Christianity came in and tried to eliminate paganism, the daemon became the demon. The word changed and the meaning of it changed to something that is sort of against Christian belief. And so the demon became something negative that we have to fight against. But fundamentally, underneath, it was something positive in the original meaning, which is interesting because in feeding your demons, once you feed the demon, it becomes an ally. So the demon becomes the daemon. Isn't that interesting? I think that's so interesting about, first of all, that is actually what happens in this Tibetan tradition, and that it also tracks that development of that word, demon. So in any case, there's 5 steps to feeding your demons. And when we do it, I will lead you through it, but I want to explain a couple of things before we begin. One is that when we ask the demon what it needs or wants, we first say, what do you want? And then we say, what do you really need? So I wanted to distinguish between those two things so you'll understand the difference when you do it. So a want is what this energy appears to want. For example, if you're working with an addiction, the demon wants the substance, the drug or the alcohol or the tobacco, whatever it is. That's the want. But underneath that want is the need. What's behind that addiction? What need is trying to be fulfilled by doing the addiction? So that might be a need for love, a need for confidence, a need to be able to just get away, for space, to escape. So the need and the want are different. And I wanted to explain that because we'll ask the demon both those questions. And the demon will have a different answer for each one. So that's one thing I wanted to explain. And then after feeding the demon, it will transform. It will actually look different as you feed it to complete satisfaction. Once that's happened, there's a couple of different scenarios that could happen. It could disappear completely, melt into a puddle on the floor, just kind of combust into nothing, or just dissolve into space. So that could happen. Or it could look different, like really significantly different. So it's actually a different being than what you'd seen the demon as. And so then we'll work with the ally. And so we have to work with whatever happened there. So if the demon dissolved completely in one way or another, then what you'll do is invite the ally to appear. And then there'll be a pause, and then you'll see the ally coming, arriving. If a being remains, you'll ask that being, are you the ally? Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. If it is, you'll work with that. If it isn't, then you'll also invite the ally to appear. So there's two scenarios where you'll invite the ally, and I'll explain this when we're there as well, but I just wanted to give you a kind of heads up to that. So those are the two things I wanted to explain. And then one more is, if you have trauma connected to this demon that you're going to work with, that might cause you to dissociate from your body, which means that you tend to sort of leave and maybe can't feel your body, you just kind of go away, then I would suggest that you don't dissolve your body into nectar as you normally would. You keep your body and you magically produce the nectar from the body that you have kept. But if you don't have that problem of dissociation, then you can do it in a normal way. And also, if you ever did this with children, I always do it where they keep their body, because they're still just getting a sense of the body and being embodied. And it does actually work very well with children, by the way. And really amazingly quickly, it has the ability, I've seen several times, to take a child with some major fear from having the major fear to having no fear, and the fear not coming back in one session. Usually with adults, it takes more than one. But with children, for some reason, perhaps because they live in their imagination so vividly, it usually just takes one session. Okay. So now I'm going to lead you through this process of feeding your demons. As I said, it's a 5-step process, and it begins with some relaxation breathing. You'll be doing the practice with your eyes closed, and you'll be changing places in the middle of the practice. That means that you'll actually shift where you're sitting to another seat. So if you are in a chair, put another chair in front of you so you can shift into that chair, or you can also just stand up and face the chair that you're sitting in. If you're seated on the floor, then put another pillow in front of you so you can change places. Okay, so we do this with our eyes closed as much as possible. It helps with the imagination. And, you know, when I say visualize, sometimes people say, I can't visualize. But remember, this is imagination. It's not that there is a natural demon that you're trying to see. It's really coming out of your imagination. It's like a dream image or an image from the unconscious mind. Okay, so let's close our eyes. And again, take a moment to come into the body. Notice any physical tension that you're holding in your body. Breathe into that physical tension. Hook it with the breath and let it ride out on the out breath. Physical tension. Maybe you've got pain in your shoulder or in your back or somewhere else in your body. You just feel tension. Breathe into that and let it go with the out breath. Now notice any emotional tension that you're holding. Feel where you're holding emotional tension in your body. Breathe into that. Imagine the breath goes to that place. And then it rides out on the out breath. Emotional tension. Breathe into it. And then let it go with the out breath. And now notice any mental tension, any thoughts, worries, concerns that you're holding. Breathe into that and let it go on the out breath. Now let's take a moment to generate our motivation for doing this practice of feeding your demons, generating an intention to do it for the benefit of all beings, everywhere. A heartfelt intention to do it for the benefit of all beings. This is called raising bodhicitta, the heart, or mind, or thought toward awakening. Okay, now let's take a moment and feel into what you want to work with today. I would suggest that you work with something that's really up for you. If it's a relationship issue, you'll work with the feeling that you have in yourself around your relationship. You won't be working with the other person as the demon, but rather your own feelings that come up in the relationship. And otherwise, you can work with a physical problem, physical pain, an illness. You can work with an emotional issue. As I mentioned before, something like depression or anxiety, fear. And take a moment and decide what you want to work with today. Okay. Now, think about whatever it is you decided to work with. Perhaps recalling an incident when this came up for you strongly, or perhaps it is up right now strongly. feeling it in your body, noticing how you feel in your body when you think about this. And now bring your awareness to the place in your body where you feel this most strongly when you think about it. Where do you feel it most intensely when you think about it? Bring your attention to that place in your body. Notice what that's like. And now, if this sensation, this energy connected to this demon in your body were to have a color, what color would it be? If it were to have a texture, a consistency, what would that consistency be like in your body? What shape does it take in your body? What's the temperature of it? Now intensify this color, shape, consistency with its temperature. Bring your full attention to that place in your body. And now imagine that it moves out of your body and it takes form in front of you. It's personified as a being. It's personified as a being with arms and legs and a body, personified as a being. Notice the size of this being. How big is it? What is its height? What color is it? Or what color is it wearing? What is the surface of its body like? What is the density of its body? Does it have a gender? It may or may not have a gender. But if it does, notice what it is. What kind of character does it have? What's its general character like? And what is its current emotional state? What is its emotional state right now? Now notice the look in its eyes. When you look into its eyes, what's the look there? And now notice something about it that you didn't see before. Something you didn't see. Something you didn't notice about it. Now we're going to ask it 3 questions. I'll give them to you one at a time, and then you, either out loud or under your breath, direct this question at the demon. What do you want? What do you really need? How will you feel when you get what you really need? And having asked those questions now, keeping your eyes closed as much as possible, change places. Change places and face the seat where you're sitting now. Face your current seat. And if you want to, you can stand up and face it, or simply change seats. And take a moment to become the demon. Be in the body of the demon, really feeling what it's like to be that size, that shape, that color. How does it feel to be in that body? Does it feel like it did to look at it? Or is being in the body give you a different feeling? And now we'll, in the body of the demon, really from being in that body, answer those questions. I'll give you the beginning of each answer and then repeat that beginning and then finish the answer. What I want is what I want is, and you're directing these questions at your normal self. What I want is, what I really need is, what I really need is if I can get what I really need, I will feel if I can get what I really need, I will feel. This is a feeling. And now, remembering the answer to that third question, if I get what I really want, I will feel. Come back to your original seat. Take a moment to come back into your own body and see the demon in front of you again. And now imagine that your own body dissolves, and it dissolves into nectar, into a liquid nectar. And the quality of that nectar is the feeling the demon will have when it gets what it really needs. Notice the color of the nectar. It has that quality, that feeling. And if you tend to dissociate around this issue, imagine simply that you produce an infinite amount of nectar from your body. In either case, that nectar flows toward the demon. The demon is able to take it in, to absorb it. Notice how it's taking it in. Is it drinking it? Is it going in through the surface of its body or the top of its head? Just notice what happens as the nectar arrives at the place of the demon. It's taking it in, feeding it, being nurtured by this nectar. And there's an infinite quantity of nectar. Keep feeding it. Taking it in. And as it is nurtured, begins to morph. Notice what happens. Lead it to complete satisfaction. Complete satisfaction. And now your demon is completely satisfied. And notice what happens. Is there a being that remains? If so, ask that being, are you the ally? Are you the ally? If it says yes, you work with that. If it says no, or if the demon dissolved completely, invite the ally to appear. Invite the ally. Now notice the details of the ally. What size is it? Does it have a gender? What color is it? Or colors? What's the surface of its body like? What's the density of its body? What kind of character does the ally have? What's its general character like? What's its current emotional state? What's the look in the ally's eyes like? When you look at it, look into its eyes, what is that like? And now notice something about the ally that you didn't see before. Something you didn't notice. And now we'll ask the ally some questions. I'll give you them one at a time, and then either out loud or under your breath, ask the ally the question. How will you help me? How will you protect me? What is your pledge to me? How can I access you and change places and become the ally? Go back, change into that seat opposite you. Take a moment, come into the body of the ally, and notice what it feels like to be in that body. Notice how your normal self looks from the ally's point of view. And now, as the ally, answer the questions. So I'll give you the beginning of each answer, repeat that, and then finish it. I will help you by, I will help you by, I will protect you by, my pledge to you is, you can access me by, and now come back into your original seat. See the ally in front of you. And take a moment to take in the energy of the ally, the look in its eyes. Really feel it in front of you and feel its energy pouring into you. A supportive, healing energy. And now imagine that the ally dissolves into light. Notice the color of that light. And that light of the dissolved ally moves towards you and then enters your body. And that light bathes all of the cells in your body with luminosity and with that color. The whole trunk of your body bathes with that light, with its color. And it goes down into your legs, your feet, toes, spreads all the way down your legs. And all the way down your arms, into your hands and your fingers, and out to the fingertips, up into your head, your neck. It's all bathed with luminosity and the energy of the ally, not just light, but that energy of the ally. Notice how that feels. And now you, with the integrated energy of the ally, also dissolve. And dissolve completely. And rest in what's ever present after the dissolution. Just rest. And now come back into your body with the energy of the ally in your body. Noticing how you feel in a way that you can recall this. And then as you open your eyes, keep the awareness of the energy of the ally in your body. And look around the room, keeping the awareness of the energy of the ally in your body. And know that you can recall this whenever you need it. When the demon erupts, you can recall the sensation in your body and come into an awareness of it. And now we'll come out of this meditation. I hope that was helpful for you. There are some resources if you'd like to learn it or become certified in this method, if you help others. And they'll post that with this transmission. And the book is called Feeding Your Demons, published by Little Brown. So I want to thank Tara for inviting me to be with you. I did the demon work myself as we were doing it, and I feel quite touched and transformed by it. I hope you do too. It's wonderful to be with you. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. Thank you.